This is Bad Movies We Love, part of the Shice Podcast Network.
If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
Hello, Bad Movie Lovers, and welcome to Bad Movies We Love. I am your host, Nick Scheist.
The master of the stupid stuff!
I may be the master of the stupid stuff, but it seems like there are a lot more fans of the stupid stuff as well, because in March, he set the record again for the third month in a row for most listeners and most downloads. So there's a good chance that you are a new or new-ish listener to the show, and I want to say thank you for taking a chance and for being here again. And thanks to all the regular listeners out there who have helped spread the word and helped grow the show, because obviously it's working. And here in April, we are celebrating Cage Against the Machine, a second Nick Cage month, because there was just so much stuff left over from Nickvember last year that there was no way I was going to let it all go to waste. In fact, there may end up being a third and a fourth Nick Cage month, because there's just so much of his stuff that I think actually qualifies for the show, and he's a joy to watch and a joy to talk about. And on that note, I was joined by Seth Vargas from the Movie Friends podcast to talk about an iconically unhinged performance from Cage in Christopher Coppola's Deadfall from 1993.
I love Nick Cage.
In terms of all-time Nick Cage freak-out behavior, this is definitely near or at the top of that list.
Imagine being a normal person.
The diamond boss with the scissor hand.
It's truly unreal. Like, it is unreal that this film exists.
It's like you took a movie from another universe and spliced it in.
I just murdered a dude by putting his face in a deep fryer.
Excuse me? What is happening? I know you were at the strip club a second ago, but like this is incongruous with what is happening to you right now.
We come to the end and it's kind of like, oh, okay.
Whoops, watched it one too many times.
Crazy fucking world we live in, Captain Jack! Eddie, what the hell is this?
Crossing little fucking filthy double crossing filthy fucking goddamn fucking filthy little brat!
What the hell has gotten into you, man? What is this?
Oh, what the hell's gotten into you, Eddie? What is this? Oh, that's really good, Lou. That's like a poker face, like a fucking statue. Pick a card!
Right, what the hell?
Pick the fucking card!
Eddie, I don't know what's gotten into you. Listen, in a couple of days, you and I are going to make a bundle of money. Now don't bundle that. Eddie, come on, don't blow it now. Put the gun down.
Show me the Joker.
Oh, come on, put the gun down.
Just show me the fucking Joker.
Well, hallelujah, man! The Joker's wild!
Well, welcome back, man.
Thank you very much. You know, I can't even remember the last time that I was on, not meaning that it's been that long, but meaning I feel that I feel like Jack Torrance in the Overlook Hotel. I've always been the guest.
Well, you know, all work and no play around here.
Right.
You were here last month.
Really? It was only a month ago?
Yeah, for Bloodbeat.
Oh my God. Another film with two, let's see, not quite nouns, but two words making up a title. And I won't tell you which one I like more yet, but there is one.
Okay, well, I'm glad, because I need you to pick a favorite between the two. This movie's kind of a disaster. We're going to get to that in a minute. Last time you were on the show, I had asked you sort of an icebreaker question, because we hadn't ever done that before, about sort of your first memories of bad movies. And I've got another one for you this time. Different, completely unrelated question. But I want to get your rankings of the Hollywood Chris's, the Evans, the Pratt, the Pine, and the Hemsworth. I feel like this will make or break friendships around the world.
Okay. All right. So we're doing Pratt, Evans, and Hemsworth?
And Pine.
Oh, and Pine. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, wow. Throwing Pine in there really.
Put a wrench in the works for you.
Yeah. I think I would have to say Chris Pine, number one. I'm a huge fan of the Star Trek film that they made. It's a shame that they never made any other ones after that. And then I recently watched Dungeons and Dragons with him in it. And I was like, he just has such a great look, such great charisma. I think that he's probably at the top. Then, Chris Evans maybe next. Although, you know what? I'm going to throw a little curveball here. No, I can't do that. Okay, Chris Evans is next. He's good. He seems like a nice guy. Then Chris Pratt. And I just recently watched the 4th and final season of the OC, which was a 4-year-long project over at Movie Friends. And I was gobsmacked to find that Chris Pratt is in like almost the entire season as like one of the main characters in season 4. And I was like, how, as much commentary on Chris Pratt as there is online, how have I never known that Chris Pratt plays like a super hippie, liberal, pot smoking, animal freeing, tree hugging character throughout the entire. And my only explanation was that probably no one else knows.
He was
but you know
really
what?
Doing some acting in that one, huh?
Gosh darn it, he is funny. I really think he's got great comedic timing, Chris Pratt. Say what you want about him in his personal life. The dude is funny. And then Chris Hemsworth would be last. I haven't seen Black Hat. And people tell me Black Hat, Michael Mann's Black Hat, is like incredible and that he's really good in it. So that might tip the scales. But Hemsworth, I mean, yeah. Was that a long enough answer to that incredibly simple question?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, the rankings are whatever you want them to be. It's a foolhardy question for me to ask. Anyway, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Because
we have another Chris.
Do we?
Another famous Hollywood Chris.
Yeah.
Christopher Coppola.
Famous, yeah, it was debatable.
of the famous Coppola film family.
Yes. The Coppola is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, I feel. But yes, we're talking about Deadfall. Let's just crack open the film file, look at the details. Right now, directed, as you mentioned, by Christopher Coppola, also written by Christopher Coppola, and Nick Vallelonga of Green Book infamy stars the lovely Michael Biehn, Sarah Trigger, of course, Nicolas Cage, which is why we're talking about this, and James Coburn in a dual role. Didn't see that coming, but also featuring Peter Fonda, Charlie Sheen, Talia Shire, and Angus Scrimm. Music by Jim Fox, cinematography by Maurice Alberti, edited by Philip Linson, and costumes by Jacqueline de la Fontaine. This is an interesting movie. I'm glad I chose it of the options because I hadn't seen it, and I feel like I needed to see it.
Yes,
it was something that I needed done. And Season of the Witch, while I like it and I feel like is a sort of enjoyable movie to talk about in its own right, and is an enjoyable movie for me in general, I needed to make sure that I began to sort of check these boxes along the way. So I know your brother, Ben, had been doing his sort of Cage marathon last year or the year before, watching all of the Nicolas Cage movies. But when was the first time that you saw Deadfall?
So I also embarked on a Nick Cage journey think I watched like over 50 of his movies in one year. It became kind of like how, I don't know if you experienced this, but sometimes when I watch a few fantastic, great, important movies, I'm like, I gotta watch something really bad.
Gotta
I
reset
gotta
the
watch something.
odometer.
Yeah, I gotta watch. Usually for me, it's like cheesy horror sci-fi B movies, from any decade. And it's like, oh, great. And I know people don't like this phrase, you can just turn your brain off, but there is something relaxing after having your brain so engaged with certain films, which is lovely too. I mean, that's what we want, right? It is nice to just have a movie engage you in like one cell of your brain.
Yeah.
So for a year, that became okay. Now I need to watch a Nick Cage movie. And if you are out there and you're not a Nick Cage fan, you're probably tired of people saying that Nick Cage is in bad movies, but he doesn't give bad performances, or that he's one of the greatest living actors of our generation or all Hollywood hit. There's so many things that I firmly believe about Nick Cage to be true, including those two things. Although Deadfall really tests that first idea that he's never given a bad performance.
Yes.
But I will say that I think he's trying to do something here anyway. I love Nick Cage. I really get so much out of all of his performances. So I saw Deadfall at some point in that year because what I started doing was I would I would go to Letterboxd and I would sort what I hadn't seen, and then anything that seemed rare or lesser known that was like available to stream, I would prioritize that because I was like, I don't want to come to the end of my time and I'm trying to hunt down, the Italian film where Nick Cage plays, a soldier, which is not good, by the way. Well, it's not that bad, but so Deadfall came in and I didn't even recognize him on the cover. Like Nick has this great background right now
Yeah.
where Nick Cage, in this movie is dressed like
This
Tony
one.
Clifton, Andy
Yes.
Kaufman's alter ego of like a horrible lounge singer. And he kind of is doing Tony Clifton throughout this movie. Like the wah, 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 and like, hey, hey, rah, rah, rah. Like once I got Tony Clifton in my head, I couldn't get it out. And I'm curious if that has any bearing in reality, if Nick has said what he was basing this on. But
I wouldn't be shocked.
yeah, but yeah, that's when I first saw Deadfall.
He I mean, I tried to find some like cast interviews or some press tour stuff for this and I couldn't. And I'm sure it's
Mhm.
out there somewhere. Maybe there's even, special features on a physical media copy of it, but yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle because I had questions when I was done
Yeah. Oh yeah.
watching
Oh
this
yeah.
movie and I felt like I needed answers and the people need answers for this, but I'm pretty sure I've heard Nick Cage talk before about his admiration for Andy Kaufman, so I wouldn't be entirely shocked if that was a through line for him
Yeah.
in this. But also, he is doing this movie for his brother, right?
Yep.
Chris,
Yep.
and he's getting paid a lot less than he's worth theoretically at the time. So maybe it's I will do this, but I will do whatever I want in
Right.
this, and you will not stop me.
Right.
And it does kind of feel that way because he's like in a different movie than everybody else. Like it feels fairly like cohesive, except for his existence in it. And
Right.
at the same time, he's by far the most compelling thing about the movie. and the movie's not like super entertaining when he's not on screen, but it's entertaining in like the opposite way that the movie is trying to be entertaining when he is doing his thing. And it makes for a very sort of disjointed experience. But in terms of like all time sort of Nick Cage doing his sort of freak out behavior performances, this is definitely near or at the top of that list.
It's one of the wildest that I have seen.
Mhm.
You know, I haven't seen every film. I've logged 87 out of 149, so I'm a little more than halfway there. But it's fascinating how, if you look at the films that he had already done at this point, his next film is Guarding Tess, which is a very just, middle of the road comedy. I don't know that I would say family friendly, but nowhere near the impact, not impact, the effect of Deadfall. And then he does It Could Happen to You right after that, which is like family friendly, schmaltzy, I mean, very, very nice movie. So it's not like he's like, yeah, I'm an up and coming actor. Like, I'm not surprised if Chris Coppola did kind of inflate the role of Eddie to accommodate Cage. It's like, hey, look, we're putting in this huge star. Because I don't know, did you feel that this is like two movies?
Yeah, it's two completely different movies, and that's what I meant. Like when he's on screen, like he's just on a different wavelength. It's like you took a movie from another universe and spliced it in to this. And James Coburn specifically was having a lot of issues with him, and like, why is he screaming all the time? You need to like put the shackles on the clown or something. He said to Chris Coppola. So it's not really surprising to hear that. But because you mentioned the poster, I'm going to show this to you right here, because we're talking about sort of like Hollywood safe type of stuff that he's doing. This is the other poster, and it's like fairly basic.
That looks like AI generated.
Yeah, I mean, it looks phony, but also like this isn't even the Nick Cage character that's in this movie.
Yeah, that's like a sci-fi. If I saw that, I would assume this was a sci-fi thriller.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe for better or worse, it's not. It's certainly, I think, wants to exist a little bit in the thriller category. It's going for a little bit like noir, but
yeah. I mean, the narration of the detective, the detective who's not a cop.
Yes.
The femme fatale, the doubles, the switcheroos. Coppola, I think, 100% set out to make a neo-noir. And this is close. I mean, like I said, it's close. And I really wonder, because once Eddie dies, spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well,
it's just kind of like, okay, well, he's gone now. Now let's continue the plot. Like, the plot continues without a hitch, as if he was never there. And that's what I mean by like two movies. Like it really is like, it almost feels like episodic, like a TV show. It's like, oh, he died, in the penultimate episode. And now the last episode, we got to tie up the actual, heist stuff or whatever we're doing, con. And if you removed Eddie from the movie, or I guess if you remove like Nick Cage's Eddie from the movie, it does become more coherent, but I think it would probably be lost to the sands of time. Like, unless you're going on a Mickey Dolenz acting completionist run, you might not come across this. I mean, there are other, I mean, you got Charlie Sheen in one scene. There's a lot of famous people in this.
yeah, the
Talia
cast is
Shire with
good.
another one scene. But yeah, I mean, Cage. But yeah, Cage makes this a memorable movie that we're talking about.
Well, Michael Biehn calls it the worst movie he's ever made, and Coppola also regards Deadfall as the least favorite of his films that he's ever made. But he says he still will occasionally rewatch it just to laugh at Nick's performance.
Yeah.
But those two things I find to be interesting because the only reason that I would ever consider watching this movie is because of Nicolas Cage. And the only thing that people really have talked about in regards to this movie since it came out is Nicolas Cage. So say what you
Right.
want about his zaniness and him taking these big crazy risks and showing up on set with the wig and the contact lenses and the sunglasses and like building this character for himself. He was told how he could do whatever he wanted dress wise, so he did it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know that the movie, like, if you just were to replace him with another actor, like maybe the film is more cohesive and it's more competent, I dare say. I don't really think that's true. It just sort of would it would find its tone a little bit more consistent if he were not doing what he's doing in the film. But yeah, I don't think we would talk about it, like, because it would just be sort of like a bad, uninteresting movie, and maybe it's like not even as bad as it is, but it doesn't have anything special about it.
Yeah, and I should say I don't think that this is a bad movie.
Yeah,
I'm not bothered by the movie. It's just that his performance is so all-consuming that once it's gone, you realize kind of like how little there was to begin with. And not to push back against the great Michael Biehn, okay? This guy knows what he's talking about. But, and again, maybe I'm being a little too rash in this hypothesis, but do you think there's a chance that the Scorpion King 4 quest for power is worse than Deadfall?
I think there's a fair chance. I mean, I don't even.
I
didn't
gotta
know
watch
it
it now.
I didn't know
I
it
gotta
existed.
watch it to know.
Yeah, gonna put Michael Biehn to the test on this one, and
Oh yeah,
I agree too that, like, in watching it, I'm like, I don't really think it's that bad of a movie, but Nicolas Cage is very overpowering, and when I talked to Topher, a filmmaker from Canada, and we were doing our episode on Mom and Dad, he said Nicolas Cage is like a black hole. And he meant it in a complimentary way. And I was like, yes, I agree. Like, he's just so sort of dynamic when you watch him that when it works really well. And then when it's not working, you still kind of like can't take your eyes off of it. But despite us not really thinking it's terrible, let's go to the tail of the tape, because it's got an IMDb of 4.1, a Metascore of 42. It has no Rotten Tomatoes critic score, but it has an audience score of 25. Letterboxd holding solid at 2.3, and it has a Google users rating of 45% positive. So most of it's in like the mid 4 range, but it gives us a Bad Movies We Love total of 39.8 out of 100. I don't know.
wow.
That's a 2 out of 5 sort of score right there. I could see it.
4.1. That's 4.1 and then 2.3. I feel like those are hard to do. Wow. But hey, I mean, if you're not like, imagine being a normal person. I mean,
Could never.
and you just go to put on an entertaining movie.
Hey, this is Nick
and
Cage.
you watch this, and you're not like you and me who are like sick, and we're like, but there's something to this, Yeah, of course you're gonna be like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. I mean, I was so struck by. I guess I was in a good mood the first time I saw it, but the narration on this is horrendous. Like, I'm a defender of narration. I know some people are like, oh, narration is lazy, and it's for when you didn't shoot all the stuff that you need to, so you have to explain stuff. I like narration sometimes. This though is maybe, man, can I just say that it's maybe the worst? So Biehn is just, he's giving nothing. He's giving absolutely nothing. And like, who is he talking to? I don't know. I don't know. It's, but you can see, like I said, it's noir. It's close.
Yeah, diet noir maybe. I mean, they
Mhm.
tried. I'll give that. And I feel like it is weird for Michael Biehn, number one, to just be like starring in this kind of movie in general. He's such a good supporting actor
Hmm.
99% of the time that it's like when you come into a supporting role, sort of like what Cage is doing in this, right? Like you can take a little bit more risk knowing that the sort of film isn't hinging on that character. And,
Yeah.
we see it throughout Michael Bean's career where he's a fantastic supporting actor and he gets to really lean into his strengths. And in this, like they gave him like a lush haircut and a blazer, and they were like, "You're sexy, Michael Bean now. Go get it."
Uh,
And like
uh,
he's not an unattractive man, but there's just something about his presence in the movie, and maybe it is Nicolas Cage being a black hole that like Michael Bean cannot escape, but
right.
there's something about his presence that is not particularly charismatic in any direction. Like we've seen noir stories where the guy is sort of like overtly handsome and I guess I don't know, desirable as a leading man. And then we've seen ones where that guy is messed up and he's a junkie or an
Yeah.
alcoholic and like he's just so middle of the road with it. Like he's just a dude and the worst thing about him is that like he's in a family that happens to be con men and can't really like get away from
But also he doesn't want to.
it. No.
No, like, Michael Biehn expresses almost no emotion throughout this movie. Number one, I could not get over how much he looked like Klaus Kinski and Willem Dafoe at various times in this movie, and I was so distracted by it. I was like, "You look like if they gave Klaus Kinski just like a little bit of a shorter haircut, and he spoke perfect English." But when he says like, "Oh, I picked up on your bookie deal," like he surveys in. Has there ever been a movie where like a crime boss presides over a food court? What? What kind of outside mall?
Santa Monica is a tightly run ship by Eddie King and
Is
the
you
the
got
crime lords of Santa Monica.
the pretzel guy taking the bets, and then you got the cafe. And when you go up to his office, Lou, he's like looking over it as if he's, one of the Empire people on the Death Star. And he's like looking down. He's like, ah, yes, it's a busy day today. And there's like three people buying oranges and coffee.
Yeah, it's a farmer's market, bro. Like it's
Right. Yes. Like, this is where you're running all of your criminal operations out of. And then we go to his house. Did you notice the exterior of Lou's house is the most? I mean, look, hey, if I owned this house, I'd probably be happy as a clam, but it's the most nothing. It's like one story, one room wide. And I was like, this is, and then, yeah, that's his place. So I don't know what Lou's whole deal is other than, I loved your mother.
yeah. Maybe the house is close to the beach, location, location, location. Uh,
But it's just exterior. It's just pop up outside of anyone's house and film for 10 seconds. And then, but yeah, Bean, he uncovers this bookie thing and he's just like, hey, yeah, I saw this. And then later Diane pulls a gun on him and he's like, oh, it's you. And then, yeah, you're acting opposite Cage, and he's like, pull a card. And it's just nothing. And I mean, the ending is crazy. Now I sound like I'm saying that the movie is bad.
I think there is a case to be made that it is bad, regardless.
But I think it does pain me to say, but I think Michael Biehn he's not acting good in this. It's rough.
He's too nonchalant, given that like he believes he murdered his dad, and then he gets on a bus to Santa Monica and is like flirting with the coffee girl with like, okay, like if you really do believe that you killed your dad, there's no grief, there's no nothing, and then it's, hey, shades and Hawaiian shirts, and I'm in LA, and everything's just moving right along. But I mean, I think some of it is script. I think some of it is direction. And I think a lot of it is Nick Cage. Because, like, quite frankly, if I showed up to set and Nick Cage walks out in that wig and mustache and sunglasses and starts screaming, like, I think I would just be off. Like, I don't know how to act opposite what he's doing, right? Like, okay, so I have to, like, just be whatever I think the opposite of him is. And that's completely void of charisma of mostly any kind.
So, okay, if you're Lou, you got your farmer's market, you got your office above it, you have your extremely humble, conservative home, and you run illegal operations, but everything is very non-eccentric, you know? Are you putting in Eddie as your, like, right-hand man?
Got to spice things up.
I guess. Holy moly. Yeah. The script is, I mean, you know, Michael Biehn sitting there with like the bottle of vodka being like, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it's just like nothing means anything as time goes on. Like he like sees his mom's ghost and he's like, did you guys see that? Well, I'll never think about it again.
I'm clearly not struggling with grief and stress and mourning at all.
Yeah. I just murdered a dude by putting his face in a deep fryer. Well, I better go play pool with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I would have loved to see Nick Cage opposite Charlie in that scene, because Charlie, I feel, is playing calm, cool, collected, smooth, stylish. Like all of the things that you probably would want out of Michael Biehn, right? But Michael Bihn's wearing like slacks and like a khaki jacket, right? He's very beige in comparison to the rest of the movie, both like costume wise and character wise. And even his hair is kind of beige. So you just, I get that you sort of need the opposites to some degree, but I like Michael. And so
but he's washed out. He's washed out, like you said. You know, Charlie Sheen, again, say what you want about him, but I think Charlie Sheen has a history of giving really good performances.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
And then there's other stuff where he's not really doing anything. And Charlie Sheen comes in the midst of the Nick Cage vacuum.
Yes.
And it kind of wakes you up again to be like, oh, right. This is an actor doing a full-on character. I mean, there's no realism, and Michael Biehn feels like he's doing like a sleep realism. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone else kind of gets it. Like Sarah Trigger as Diane, I think that she's pretty good. James Coburn is fine. Peter Fonda's fine. Talia Shire is fun in her one scene, you know. So, yeah. I think Sheen is wearing like a snakeskin jacket in that scene.
It's a really nice jacket. I was like, ooh,
it's cool. Yeah.
All right, let me set the table here for the audience. So originally, Val Kilmer was slated to star in this, but he left the project at the last minute because he did not get along with one of the many producers on this. And Christopher Coppola accused him of actually breaking his contract to take a bigger offer to star in The Real McCoy. But then once Val Kilmer left, Trimark Pictures, who was a distributor, cut the budget of the film in half by about $4.5 million. So before we're shooting, already off to a rocky start. Then the producer, Ted Falk, he delivers the film to Trimark, $250,000 under budget. And then Trimark asks for the money back to be used on reshoots, and he says no. So then a bond company, Completion Bonds, takes over to film the reshoots, but then they're in litigation to resolve who actually has to pay for the cost of the reshoots, so the film gets delayed. Then there's also unsubstantiated rumors that the initial underspend should have gone to Coppola for coming in under budget, but he ends up putting it back into the production. So he never sees a cent of that money. The film eventually releases October 8th of 1993 and earns a whopping $18,000 at the box office against his $3.5 million budget. And then further unsubstantiated rumors suggest that when the film premiered, the print lab that they sent it to actually made a mistake and double printed the sex scene in the middle of the movie. So it plays back to back, and then the studio was just too lazy to take it out. Again, unsubstantiated. I didn't see this in theaters, but that might earn the reputation for like, oh, this actually is a bad movie. Like the same scene is in there back to back, and they were too lazy to cut it out.
Right. Well, I will say, I'm not a anti-sex scene guy, but woof, this is not a good example of one.
No, it's not. I was kind of surprised to see it too, and then I was like, oh, this is actually happening in this movie.
Yeah,
the guy who's got no charisma is getting laid. That's surprising.
Yeah, I mean, not to judge on anyone's performance, but no charisma is a fantastic way of describing that. Yes. At one point, Michael Biehn is literally like laying there like he's dead. Michael Biehn, come on.
We know you're better than this. We've seen you have sex on screen before, and you did it in a post-apocalyptic future, and you seem to do just fine with Linda Hamilton.
Yes, you actually created the hero of humanity, so we know you can do it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where the name Deadfall came from. Maybe they saw Michael Biehn flop on the bed and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about the title now that you mention it up. Excuse me, now that you mention it. I don't know why I said that. I don't know what it means in the context of this movie. As far as I understand, a deadfall is like a primitive trap that you use to hunt large game, where it's like a tripwire and then sort of a pre-cut section of tree that's weighted, that is held by the tripwire, then falls and smashes whatever the thing is that hunting. So, okay, there's no hunting in this.
There's cons.
There's cons, yeah.
You are setting a trap.
That's fair. Okay.
So yeah, it's like, right. Call the movie Trap, and it's, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, did you end up writing a haiku for this movie?
I did.
Okay. I don't remember what order we did things in last time. So I'll go first.
Okay.
Daddy's got a twin. Conmen in blood and by trade. One fried Eddie, please.
Okay, mine is Twin Double Trouble. Michael Biehn Defoe. Wait. Michael Biehn. Okay, that's not long enough. Wait, hold on. Michael Biehn. That should have been. Okay, I'm going to start it over.
Gotcha.
Okay. Twin Double Trouble. Michael Biehn looks like Defoe. That's still not long enough. But anyway, my mom is pretty. That was the most interesting part, like psychologically to me, of the entire thing.
I was waiting for Uncle Lou to be like, yeah, I'm your dad.
Well, I was waiting for Uncle Lou to be like, you didn't actually kill your dad. I'm your dad. There is no Uncle Lou. Everything was a lie. I told you about the cake because I wanted to get you here for something. And then it's like none of that. Like there's just nothing like there's just not the movie play. And that's the thing about like a big twist or a con or a heist. And I mean, yeah, like the dad from My Big Fat Greek Wedding, he comes back. So it's like, I guess there's like a little bit of it, but not to any of the characters that we care about. Like the dude at the end on the merry-go-round. I'm like, I don't okay. What do I care?
He's picking up his money, and I guess that's the end of the movie. All right, like
On to the next con,
yeah.
I guess.
Just keep conning
Yeah.
people forever. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what Michael Bihn's character wanted, because it's like, okay, you thought you killed your dad.
Right.
He left you a clue to like go find your uncle. So then when you're talking to your uncle, you've kind of been estranged from for all these years, and he is your dad's friggin' twin. There's going to be some stuff going on in terms of like how you handle that. And especially when you're in mourning and you're faced with like the face of the person that killed, right?
Mhm.
I wasn't sure, like, does he want to reconcile this relationship with his uncle to sort of make up for the fact that he's lost it with his dad? Like, is that what's happening here? Doesn't seem like it.
Right, because there's no even though we have a narrator, like he says a few times, like, I didn't know it yet, or something, I didn't know. But you know now. You know now. You're telling this style of narration is you're telling us a story that has already happened. So give us some insight as to what's happening. And there's just no interior to these people. I mean, Lou, the other interesting thing is when you go to Lou's house and his wife, Blanche, who is also my favorite. I thought she was great. But is it Blanche?
Who the wife, the character?
Yeah. Hold on.
Yes. Gigi Rice played.
Yeah. I was like, okay, now this is interesting because this is also kind of revealing something about Lou. And like, do I like Lou? Like, Lou married someone because they made a good cup of coffee? Like, okay, I'm kind of interested. But then also, is he the big bad guy? Is he not? And then, like I said, the whole idea of like, yeah, we use this woman who looks like your mom to kind of like draw you in, but then you had sex with her. That's really, yeah, I'm not like making, I'm not like trying to make that funny. Like, that's very interesting. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the whole Oedipus Rex complex.
Mm-hmm.
And if Michael Bihn's character could even get to the point where he maybe has any understanding of that, then maybe we see it, maybe we hear some of that in the voiceover and the monologuing. But yeah, all of the sort of like family drama that should be interesting in this kind of just never gets there. He presents Joe with the ring that he was going to give to his mom. Like it comes kind of out of nowhere, but there is sort of value in that. Like, oh, there's much more to the relationship between like my parents and my dad and my uncle than I thought. And then they kind of just move right along. There's no time for emotion. Okay. They got to get to the
Okay.
next con.
I'm not trying to put you to the test here. I really struggled with this idea. His dad is dying, and he says, "Get the cake. I gave the cake to my brother."
Mhm.
Right?
Yes. Or my brother has the cake, something like that.
Okay, because I thought he said I gave it. Okay, fine. So you're wondering throughout the film, what is the cake? And that's the whole investigation. What's the cake? I'm getting closer to finding out what the cake is. Maybe she knows what the cake is. And then you find the cake and it's nothing. It's a box shaped like a cake with a big ruby ring in it, which is fine. Okay. But it's not like, oh, this ruby is worth $5 billion. And, your dad and I stole it from the Queen of England and the greatest con ever. Why would the dad want that back?
Yeah, there's no
His dying words?
There's no legacy to that. But then when his dad shows back up at the end, he's got a briefcase full of cash. Doesn't he say to him, like, here's your cake? And that's why I was confused, because there's no emphasis on the ring.
Right.
Here's a taste.
Right.
Yeah, he was saying that. I'm pretty sure when he opened the briefcase and showed it to him for the first time, he said something about cake. I could be wrong. I might have to go back and watch it again.
Money?
Yeah, then it makes even less sense.
I tried so hard. I even rewound it a little bit and I was like, I still don't get why this man, man, I'm really talking myself into not liking this movie.
Yeah. Whoops, watched it one too many times.
Mm-hmm.
That happens sometimes. But speaking of watching things, I was going to play the trailer, but I think I would rather just watch Nick Cage highlights from this movie. How do you feel about that?
Sure. Go for it.
It sounds like a much more entertaining time now that we've undermined basically the whole film.
But he is the best. I mean, Time to Kiss the Baby. Wah.
Yeah.
There's really valuable stuff here.
Should. Okay. Before we look at the trailer, it's time for a quick commercial from the multiverse. Did you or someone you know lose a limb in a billiards accident or a black market diamond exchange gone wrong? Want to get even with the hustlers that set you up? Or maybe you just want an accessory appendage that's both intimidating and functional? Well, head on down to Dr. Lime's Evil Appendages and more. From motorized scissor hands for pinching and slicing to custom pool cues, Dr. Lime's has a wide variety of styles, colors, and trim levels, so your new arm or leg won't end up costing you an arm and a leg. So the next time you find yourself devoid of charisma and being quickly ushered through a secret door in a pool hall, don't get caught red-handed trying to pull a fast one. Proudly display your red right hand from the start and let everyone know that you mean business. Dr. Limes does not take insurance, but you can rest assured that you'll have the coolest prosthetic hand in town. And now, back to the show. Didn't realize that guy's wearing a shirt that says fuck in the background.
Hi, fucking yeah!
Come on.
All right. Okay, baby girl. Who sent ya? Who sent ya?
Okay, baby girl.
Oh, you that fucking low man!
It's unreal.
Yeah. Being on set for this must have been insane.
When he walked out and he's wearing a cummerbund here, I was like, that's just...
I'm pretty sure,
Looked like I had to pay my dues
99%
by
sure,
wilding with Uncle Lou's flunky.
he's got a prosthetic nose on as well.
It looks like almost like his entire face is covered in just like a kind of like I hate to keep saying it, but kind of like Tony Clifton. Like his whole face is just covered with like a very thin layer of latex for no reason.
Filthy double crossing, filthy fucking goddamn fucking filthy.
Like it both looks like Nick Cage and not him all at the same time.
Wild. You trying to take me out of the game? And squeeze in your fucking nephew, huh? Well, who's sitting behind your fucking desk now? Me! I'm behind your fucking desk now! Me!
This is about Joe? Oh, God. Eddie, after all we've been through together.
That's what I said halfway through the movie.
Jesus Christ, you stupid fucking hothead! What is this?
I admire Coburn's restraint in this scene, though.
Put the gun down.
Deep fryers are scary. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
Yes, they are.
Motherfucker.
Okay,
Surprise! He's bald.
that
What am I, fucking retard, man? Am I fucking
We'll have to come back to
retard?
that.
Huh? I know what this is. You're trying to stop me out because of his crazy little nephew being around. Well, vive la fucking France, man!
Viva la fucking
When did
France,
you go out
man.
with Eddie tonight? Huh? Yeah, do a little bar hopping. He'll show you around.
Oh my
What do
god.
you think?
Yeah, he looks bad. Oh, that's amazing.
Also
Amazing.
Also at times, Michael Biehn looks so much like Mark Hamill in this movie.
Well,
Like, wow.
when you mentioned Willem Dafoe, I'm like, Willem Dafoe would have had such a good time in that lead role because he would have put himself into it. And I don't know if it's a thing where Michael Biehn wasn't getting a lot of lead roles, you know?
Yeah.
And so maybe it was like, hey, I don't want to like kind of mess this up. Working the Coppola family, this could be good for my leading man trajectory. Let's just make sure that we don't do anything too crazy. And then Nick Cage shows up.
Right.
Like, oh, I got you covered. We're going to do all the crazy on this side of the table.
Okay, so two things came to mind while watching that. One, you mentioned we go from $7 million to 3.5.
Yeah, it was like 8 down to 3.5.
Okay, so $8 million down to 3.5. That is beyond substantial. That is a different film. Entirely a different film.
And they came in under budget still.
Right. So, okay. Yes, Nick Cage is doing a lot. His performance seems overinflated for what the script has for this character who won't even make it till the end of the film. Is it possible that Cage is it possible that Cage is trying to make the movie bigger, make the movie more, now that all this stuff has to be cut due to the budget being cut, due to Val Kilmer being gone? It's like, okay, you know, what can we do to make the movie larger than the budget calls, is allowing? So that's the first thing I thought of. And then the second thing is that reveal of the wig coming off and Cage drops the voice to swear at him is worth the whole movie. Like, that is so funny and so well done. And like also odd because we've seen Eddie for the whole movie. This is not how Eddie responds. Like, I'm not proposing that this is actually like Nick Cage's response to it, but he goes to a completely different person and a completely different character for like half a second and then has his face melted off.
Yeah, well, I mean, the more I talk about Nick Cage, and when we did the month prior, it's like he doesn't really approach things haphazardly. Like, he doesn't mail performances in. Like, he's always giving a lot of consideration to what he wants to do. And like, yes, he's very boisterous and very loud in this movie, and tonally jarring in comparison to the rest of the film. But like, if he approached the character from like, I'm really this bald, sort of insecure weirdo that is playing dress up as this cool sort of cokehead wannabe mobster, and then at this one moment in the film, that's all revealed. Like, it actually makes a lot of sense if you give him enough credit to have gone through the process of like the character design. And knowing what I know about him, I wouldn't be shocked. And like you said, that moment is such like a weird reveal because like we can all tell he's wearing a wig, but not every movie where someone's wearing a wig is like, oh, this is like a in script wig. This is
Right.
just this is their hair.
Where does the wig live? Because people in movies wear wigs.
Mm-hmm.
So is the movie trying to tell us that this is his hair? And up until this point, it
No
kind of
reason
seems
to-
that way.
Yeah, there's no reason to believe it isn't.
Right? It's a low budget movie. He's just, yeah, I do give him credit. I remember hearing him talk about Vampire's Kiss and his whole thought process that went into that performance
Yeah, very interesting.
and what he wanted to do. And one thing that I like about Cage, and I've heard him say this so many times. We did a month that I think lasted for 5 weeks on our show for Nick Cage.
Yeah, it was like spring or something last year, right?
Yeah, and it was just so great being able to research like these roles that he did, and almost every single time he says, I wanted to do this because it would let me do this, and it would be like a different style of acting
Mm-hmm.
or working with a different director, or the character let me do something that I hadn't done before. And I think because of, the old fashioned YouTube Nick Cage freak out compilations, his stuff can start to feel like it all runs together. But if you look at his freak out in Vampire's Kiss versus this, it's totally, totally different. Really, really different. And even if some of the nuances only exist in his mind, whether or not they actually come through in his performance, I appreciate that he does try different things and that he's interested in things for them being different from each other. I mean, Season of the Witch, I think, is a really good example. We almost did that one. I think this Season of the Witch is a fine film. And I'm glad that you picked this one too, because that one isn't nowhere near as fun to talk about. But like you see Season of the Witch and then like jujitsu, right? You got two characters with swords or, martial arts and fighting, and very different. Really, really different. Yeah, I give him all the credit for coming up with this character, because when you look at the characters that his brother wrote, they're all pretty flat. They're all not there. Cage brings, I think, all of this. Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to jump ahead.
Do what you got to do.
Are you aware of the other film where Nick Cage plays this character?
I am, only because of my prep for this, and I was like, I like, my mind was sort of erased, and I had to start from scratch. I mean, Nick Cage is playing 4D chess, and if you're not like accustomed to it, then yes, it might seem insane on the surface, but because you were talking about Vampire's Kiss, like when I did the episode on Wicker Man, he talks about Mask of the Red Death and like this particular scene in it where he says like someone gets doused with brandy and set on fire, and it goes from like, oh, this like comical thing to this horrifying thing, and he was trying to like recapture that. And in Wicker Man, he wanted to still be in the bear suit when they like broke his legs and beat him up and threw him and burned him alive. He was like, we're going for this sort of like completely absurd ending that is both comical and terrifying, but the studio didn't want to let us do it. So it's like he had the vision, and he was like, I know what I'm inspired by. I know what I want to bring to this film. And because we weren't allowed to do that, we're left with sort of like, not the bees, which is a scene that doesn't even make the theatrical cut. That's only on the home video version. So he's always incredibly considerate with his choices, but the fact that he wanted to revisit this character and think that there was more there. Have you seen Arsenal?
I have seen Arsenal.
Okay,
yes.
I need to watch it, because the fact that he decided to do that is crazy.
And that Arsenal is coming from completely different filmmakers.
Mm-hmm.
And that the director of this film, Christopher Coppola, is also in Arsenal.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely a curio piece,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily. Although it's fine. I mean, if you look at the cast, it's not like you got John John and you got John Cusack.
Jonathan Skates, John Cusack.
Yeah, Adrian Grenier.
Yeah,
it's fine, but it's much like this movie, which is hilarious to me. It is hilarious that a young filmmaker, or just younger than the Coppolas, was like, okay, I have a crime story that's also about family. And then part of the way through, we're going to bring in this Eddie character. And it's going to be Nick Cage doing it. It's all the same stuff. It's insane, over the top. And I'm just going to derail my normal crime story with this character once again. And so I hope in like
Inspired
20
by
years,
Get another
in
one?
20 years, we get another entry and Cage comes back and plays Eddie like one more time. That would just be amazing. It's completely unrelated films.
If we're graced with Nick Cage for another 20 years, then yes, I hope so. But yeah, Stephen C. Miller made Werewolves, I think last year or the year before, like a fun werewolf romp kind of movie. Kind of weird that he maybe was inspired by a movie like Deadfall and didn't have the idea to be like, hey, let me make Deadfall, but make it like a good version of that movie. He's like, no, let's just make a new one and have the exact same madness happen in the middle with Nick Cage. I mean, talk about 4D chess. That's
it's
inspired.
It's truly unreal. Like, it is unreal that this film exists because he's not resurrecting a character that people would know. It's not,
Right?
it's not like people be like, oh, look, let's rent this, because it was like straight to video, straight to streaming type of film. Oh, Cage is reprising Eddie from Deadfall. I can't wait to see this. It's nothing like that. Like, it's like one of my favorite like jokes in film. You know what I mean? Like, if you and I suddenly had $20 million and we decided to blow it on a joke, it would be like
all Nick Cage.
Arsenal. So if you're listening to this and you've seen Deadfall, you must watch Arsenal. There's no question about it.
My primary question is one that I actually don't want answered. And like, obviously this is 2017. Obviously Cage is a lot older. The movie is obviously not set in 1993, I don't think. I just see a picture of the car John Cusack's driving and I'm like, that's not a 1993 vehicle. Does Eddie survive the face melting of the deep fryer and come back? Or is he like Godzilla, where there's like another one of them out there?
A new Eddie springs forth every couple of years.
Yeah.
I won't answer that, but I will also give a shout out to John Cusack in that movie, who is like I believe he's wearing like do-rags at one point. It's pretty great.
He's had an interesting career trajectory. I could probably
John Cusack, definitely.
I could dedicate some time to him if I wanted to. But now we're gonna go to trivia.
Time for trivia!
Because the first question off the board was about the movie Arsenal. So you already got one in the bank.
All right.
Okay, so question 2. In 1997, which punk band recorded a song titled Deadfall after seeing Nick Cage's performance in this movie?
Oh, man. Goldfinger.
No, the band was called Snot. Snot was a Santa Barbara-based American hardcore punk and nu metal band formed in 1995 and then later ended in 1998 after Lynn Straight, the frontman, after his passing. So, yeah, short-lived, but...
All right, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I know. I feel like it should be on, subsequently added to the soundtrack for this movie. But we'll go to question number 3. So, supposedly, Cage had actually signed on to play Joe even before Val Kilmer did, but he wanted to play Eddie, who was originally cast as Eddie but let go.
Let go? Mickey Rourke?
That's actually not too far. If it was Tom Waits, but Mickey Rourke would have been fun.
Wow. When I think of like, I don't want to say difficult actors, but when I think of people like who'd be let go around this time period, I always jump to Mickey Rourke. Tom Waits, I wonder why he was let go.
Because of Nick Cage. Cage was like, I want to play this character. So they said, okay, well, Nick wants it, so we're moving. They should have just made Tom Waits Joe at that point. Like, again, no offense to Michael Biehn. We love Michael Biehn around here, but yeah, Tom Waits, I think, plays the detective noir character.
Right. Yeah,
more
you can hear
gritty
the
and earthy.
narration.
Yeah.
Like I really tried, like I rewound a couple of the narrations and I asked myself, I was like, okay, is it the writing or is it the performance? And genuinely, the performance was so bad that I couldn't even like divide them enough. Like it's overwhelmingly his performance of the narration it's just so nothing. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow,
Dang.
Tom Waits. I mean, Tom Waits being in this would have definitely elevated this more to cult classic, because I feel like even for Cage fans, this is pretty below the radar.
Yeah. It's not super easy. I mean, it's on Tubi, but it's not like popular despite it being during his like really sort of prolific 90s run. So a couple bits of bonus trivia before we move on to the wheel. So when Christopher Coppola showed this movie to Francis Ford Coppola, he hated it, completely expectedly, but he said that Nick Cage held the film hostage just like he tried to do in Peggy Sue Got Married. And the only difference is that in Peggy Sue, there were stronger actors around him. So, I mean, like, honestly, like not far off. So when asked how he approached the character of Eddie, Cage said, I'm not trying to play my character from a logical standpoint. I'm just trying to paint and do whatever comes out of me without thinking about it, without editing myself. And so I find that to be, I mean, interesting and also pretty in line with what I've heard from him throughout a lot of other interviews that he's done for all of his crazy movies, because like I think the knee-jerk reaction from like a fan is that like you see Nick Cage do something good and it's like, well, why don't you just like do more good stuff? Why don't you do this again? And so on the one hand, yes, he was in debt and he took on a lot of sort of like straight to video projects and he was doing a lot of like work for hire stuff rather than being like the $20 million Nick Cage that was in The Rock and stuff like that.
Right.
So yes, there are different sort of facets to his career, but he is like an actor's actor. He wants different roles. He wants different challenges. Like I don't think he's comfortable being the guy that he became when he was sort of very mainstream. Like he came from a background of being sort of eccentric, and then all of a sudden it was like, no, you're the leading man, and these are kind of the roles that leading men get. And so you make those, but at the end of the day, I feel like even had he not gotten into crazy debt, he probably still would have begun to work more with some of the sort of virtuoso directors that we've seen since that 90s era, rather than being like relegated to a video on demand tier of movies, because his stock wouldn't have plummeted. He just would have been taking roles in smaller films that are more interesting. And, I think to some degree, this is one of them, but I don't think this is a movie that he necessarily chose because he was super interested in it.
Right. I mean, look, I have 5 brothers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes your brothers help you out. And if Chris Coppola is like, I'm making this movie and he's able to, and like I said, his budget is cut in half. I'm not, I'm not surprised. I mean, you've got one of Martin Sheen's kids is in this.
Yeah.
Estevez. Yeah, I can't remember her name.
Renee.
Along with one of Martin Sheen's other kids. This. And so it's like, is this a little bit of like, hey, let's kind of, all rally together, get the gang together, nepotism a little bit here and there, and we'll push this movie out. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I will tell you, if I ever had the chance to interview Nick Cage, this would be one of the movies that I would ask him about, because like you said, there's not like a ton of stuff on this, and I'm just curious about the Tony Clifton thing. Like I just want to be like, Nick, what are you doing, Tony?
Yeah, 'cause I mean, this is 93, right? Taxi is in the 80s.
Right.
I mean, like, he's probably watching it and as a fan, I was just trying to think. I was like, no, Man on the Moon was a little bit later than this, so there hadn't been sort of like a
Right.
pendulum swing back to pop culture at that point
Right.
just then. So Nick was ahead of the curve. Yeah.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
Well, he does. One of his favorite lines in all of his movies is in this, where he says, "Viva la fucking France, man!"
Mm-hmm.
Out of nowhere for some odd reason. And another weird quote was that, so in the shot where there's the stripper shaking her boobs in Eddie's face, he repeatedly says to her all summer long. And so he apparently took that line from a real life night on the town about a year prior with him and an inebriated Charlie Sheen at a strip club. And Charlie Sheen was the one who kept yelling at one of the strippers all summer long, all summer long.
Wow.
Talk about art imitating life.
I think he also, isn't he saying like mommy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's insane.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to the bonus whip. See what we get off the board here. I added some new questions.
I'm just looking through Cage's filmography and I'm like, that movie's great. That movie's great. That role is interesting.
Yeah, he never really does anything that I would find to be uninteresting. It's always going to be worth watching for him, even if
even the Left Behind movie that he did, it's not good at all. But you're watching it, you're just like, I can't believe I'm watching Nick Cage in a Left Behind movie.
Yeah, he had like a weird series of those. Like Nick Cage is the last person left at the end of the apocalypse, and it's like, that makes sense. Okay, so what is a song that embodies the energy of this movie? What's something that should be on the soundtrack?
Wow. Well, my first, just for the madness, I guess my first thought was Flagpole Sitta. I can see, Eddie like driving down the road singing along to that. Other than that, yeah, probably that would be my addition.
All right. Well, since we talked about seeing Eddie King again for a third time, the other question off the board is, if you had to pitch a sequel for this movie right now, what is your absurd elevator pitch?
Oh my God. Well, Eddie survives, first of all. And Eddie's whole card trick thing was very Two-Face, like if it's higher or if it's lower kind of a thing.
I could see him dealing with Batman at some point down the road.
So yeah, I would say that the sequel is Eddie is fully bandaged for the whole movie, kind of like the Invisible Man. So he's like wearing a suit, but he's fully bandaged. But he becomes like the mayor of a town or like a very important lawyer. Like he's so fueled by his hatred for Joe burning his face off that he becomes like very powerful and then orchestrates like a jigsaw from Saw-esque trap to get Joe to do something like old. So yeah, it'd be a mix between like Two-Face from Batman, Old Boy, and Jigsaw.
Very interesting.
Yep.
All right. Let's do one more off the board.
Okay.
Let's do
And that movie would be called Facefall.
And then kick it along the road long enough and we get to another face-off movie as well.
Right.
Okay. So what line of dialogue would you want on a t-shirt?
Oh man. Whoa. all of Eddie. I mean, like all of Eddie's yellings. Maybe what does he call him? Hothead. Hothead. I'll
Yeah.
show you. Hothead.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
pretty
good one.
funny. Probably I'll go back to what I quoted earlier. It's time to kiss the baby. Wah. And that guy, Baby, I found out is the voice of Bleeding Gums from The Simpsons.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah. Everyone I was looking at, I was like, oh my God, you guys are all why? And then, like I said, Mickey Dolenz is just in this as a pretzel guy for like 5 seconds. What are we doing?
Yeah. You pick up the phone. You're like, hey, all my friends want to make a movie.
No, you know what? It turns out they just went to a real pretzel stand and Mickey Dolenz was working there.
Yeah, saves on location scouting right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do more or less. So pretty easy. You just tell me one thing that you want more of, one thing that you want less of in this movie.
I want less narration and I want Eddie to make it closer to the end.
That's fair. So more Nick Cage, less Michael Biehn. Or less Michael Biehn narration.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, both of those are fair. I sort of had a weird moment in the movie where it was like, they're just at the strip club kind of for no reason. And I'm like, 90s movies had a lot of strip clubs. Like, this is just, they're at the strip club a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say necessarily more strip club, but definitely more Nick Cage. Like, just make it his story altogether. Like, you don't even, I don't know. You don't even necessarily need Michael Biehn in this. I do feel like a different actor could have brought some ballast to what we see on screen. Like, Willem Dafoe's his own kind of freak. He could definitely handle Nick Cage. Tom Waits would have been interesting because I feel like he could play sort of like the tortured soul a little bit better than we see from Biehn. We haven't even talked about, you know what I want more of? The diamond boss with the scissor hand. We haven't talked. He's got a lobster scissor hand.
And so you start to think like, I think Coppola was doing something. Like, I think there was something. And I didn't know that about the budget. Now knowing that about the budget, I'm like, okay, I think that answers why this movie is the way that it is. You know, when you write a script, you write, and then, you know, you might have to take things out or whatever, but you can't take a script, figure out how much it will cost, do that in half, and then shoot the same script. You have to rewrite things and move things around. So I'm really curious what the full version would be, and that guy kind of gives you a glimpse of maybe what he was going for.
Well, like, you think of what Cage is doing with Eddie, and then we have Charlie Sheen, who is not in it that much, but he's got a whole nickname and a backstory, and I think he made like $300 to actually be in this movie, but he spent a month studying pool so that he could play well enough.
Wow.
You have like those two. You have obviously the twins, and like one of the James Coburns kind of got like a scarred up face. So it's like, so you have twin daddies, Eddie, Fats the pool player, Bond villain, Diamond Boss, and then in the middle of all that, you got Mr. Beige in Michael Biehn, who like, he's what's out of place in the movie, honestly, even though he's the main character.
And you have Ripaway Beard Assassin.
Yes, thank you.
You have the mom from Beetlejuice, dead mom. You know, like there's like I think I'm gonna throw out a movie here, and maybe this will land in the comparison. But is he making like a Johnny Mnemonic neo noir that then has its legs cut out from under it to the point where it's just a boring movie? And I don't mean Johnny Mnemonic in the sense of like, you know, futuristic cyberpunk, like anything, but like the style of Johnny Mnemonic, where Anyway, like I said, that's kind of a weird comparison, but in my head, that makes sense.
Well, like, because you have Biehn playing the straight man in this, and all of the stuff around him is kind of weird. I mean, he even gets double crossed by the femme fatale. So sort of like nothing is really as it seems in this movie, but he's just like taking everything at face value. He never really responds like anything around him is weird, right? A dude with a gigantic mechanized scissor hand is sitting across the table from you, and you're not at all like you're in his
Right.
weird lair. He's got henchmen. There's a secret room in a pool hall. Like his reaction or lack of reaction to things, like it's puzzling because I think like if you were to sort of like pluck him out, drop in Dick Tracy, all of a sudden I feel like the balance between
Right.
what we
Right.
have as our lead character and what we have going on around him makes a lot more sense. So
Right.
yes, if you're trying to accomplish something like that, where it's like, hey, there's like a very weird underworld that we're getting into, and our main character is sort of like going to be our compass, you still need to have some acknowledgement that what's happening is weird. And even in his internal monologue, there's not really any sort of hesitation or commentary about, oh, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but like it just kept getting crazier. Like there's none of that. So yeah, I would be curious.
He's just looking for the cake. Like, yeah, like he's just like, this is what I'm doing. And he doesn't see anything else around it. Like, that's his only concern.
Yeah.
When he's talking with Diane in the car, when Eddie goes into the store, he's just like, he's really something, huh? And she's like, well, it helps pass the time. Bro, if I was in a car with and I thought I could trust this woman, I'd be like, is this guy out of his mind? Like, what is happening? Like,
Is this guy from this planet?
You know, a story that does that quite well is Twin Peaks, where Agent Dale Cooper is a full character who can be in this. You know, when when Dale Cooper talks to the log lady, it doesn't feel off. Where if Michael Bihn's character here was, it would be nothing. So yeah. Biehn is the problem, and the writing is the problem. The character's the problem. It's too much. It's too much with not enough money to execute.
Yeah. I would be curious to be like, please explain like what you actually had in mind for this movie, because there seems to be some interesting stuff going on that is trapped inside the movie that you gave us.
Yep.
But we'll hear some other mean stuff theoretically when we go to Critics Corner.
All right.
So let's see. We've got a 42 Metascore overall. There's only 5 reviews for this, so we get all 5 that are on the board. And we start with the San Francisco Chronicle in at a 25 with no name attached to it. It says Deadfall is dreadful. Pretentious story, bad acting, off-kilter direction, disgusting violence, and irrelevant sex. Published December 6th of 1993. So
the slice across the neck, I was like, yeah, because we hadn't really seen too much of that. And then the boiled face, I was like,
yeah.
And honestly, when I saw the boiled face this time, I was like, I don't remember that happening the first time I watched this movie.
Yeah. Well, I was curious if he was going to like survive it and have like one more jump scare kind of thing. But then they just kind of unceremoniously throw him in like an oil field out of like the outskirts of Los Angeles. But like when he cuts the guy's throat outside the club, like behind the car, he's also like screaming to him. He's like, do you want to fuck? And I'm like,
yeah.
Excuse me? What is happening? I know you were at the strip club a second ago, but like this is incongruous with what is happening to you right now. So all of those decisions from Cage, I think it's like, what is the highest I can go? Let's go a notch higher than that. And we'll climb the ladder and go to the LA Times. Local paper. This is Kevin Thomas, says a hopelessly callow, leaden paced attempt at film noir is of interest only because it was directed and co-written by Francis Coppola's nephew Christopher, and because it has a far more stellar cast than is usual for a low-budget B picture. February of 1994. So this must have been like home video review? There's no way it's still in theaters from October to February.
No way.
Not this movie. It only made $18,000. It's not getting
Right. No, they
getting
pulled
shelf
it the
life.
first weekend. They
I
pulled
would.
this. There's no way this continued running.
Oh, we can't let people see this. There's 2 sex scenes back to back. We got to fix that. All right. Well, let's go to Variety. This is Ken Eisner. Says, watchable only for camp value, Deadfall is at its best when cameo-laden anarchy reigns. As a tribute to film noir, it won't make it to the Late Late Show. Okay, that's fair, though. Right in the middle at a 50. And then we have another 50. This is from Consequence. This is a publication I've never heard of or read on the show. Clint Worthington says, ostensibly, it's a vehicle for Michael Biehn, whom no one else but James Cameron seems to know how to use properly, but everything else about the movie is forgettable. That's crazy.
No one except for James Cameron. Wow.
So maybe that is true that James Cameron is the best at utilizing Michael Biehn, but everything about the movie is forgettable?
I mean, there's one big thing that's kind of unforgettable, if you ask me, and everything else kind of is.
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, probably yes, but I'll never forget it. All right, so we're gonna go to the AV Club and close it out with a 75 out of 100. Alex McLeese, right? That is surprising. Compared to Deadfall, films The Wicker Man, Face Off, and even Vampire's Kiss look like Merchant Ivory productions. It may be a crowded field at the top of Cage's most entertaining performances, but this one deserves to stand above the fold, if for no other reason than that its general lack of public awareness means a retroactive popular appreciation is long over. And that's, kind of where we are right now. But it feels like he gifted quite a lot of points anticipating this moment in time.
Right.
Hey,
yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to lie.
Right.
I don't think that person's lying, but I think Deadfall is worth watching.
It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
It's not even that long. I mean, granted, you're gonna have to sit through some ads.
Sure,
but whatever. Tubi's free. Don't worry about it. I mean,
right. Yeah, who cares?
I would say it breaks
Look,
up.
Nick,
the
you and I
rhythm, but
grew
there
up
isn't
watching TV, and there was freaking commercial breaks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you watch one episode of Rugrats, and you see the same commercial for GAC and Hawaiian Punch like 8 times before it was over.
Yeah. No, it's fair.
I don't care about commercials.
I know. I'm back. I'm so stubbornly upset with the streaming companies that I'm like, you know what? I can throw a color too.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Well, we've survived Critics Corner, but now I got to get your gateway drug for this.
Okay.
What on earth comes close?
Okay, this doesn't come close, but I'm going to recommend a film that I think does the whole con story better, I guess I'll say.
Okay.
And I think it also explores what you said earlier. Like, imagine this film exactly the same way, but Biehn and Cage throughout the whole movie are vying for this position of like Uncle Lou's right-hand guy. And it's not just a one-off, but it's actually like exploring the dynamic of like, oh, now he's getting a little leverage. Now he's getting a little leverage. Now he, and how there's room for tension there. Anyway, so it's a film from 2004, directed by Gregory Jacobs, who is most known for Magic Mike XXL, called Criminal. And it's about an older con man who recruits a younger con man that he sees like trying to pull off a con in a casino. Starts John C. Reilly. Everyone knows and loves him. And a very young fresh-faced Diego Luna. It's I think what this movie should have reverted to had its budget all, it should have just become a straightforward con movie. So that's my recommendation. Criminal from 2004. It's fun. It's a fun con movie.
I am gonna stay in the Nick Cage ballpark because we're talking about con men. Why not? Matchstick.
It's a big ballpark.
It is. It is. But yeah, initially I was like, maybe I would say Port of Call, the Bad Lieutenant movie,
Yeah, I thought
because
about him. Yeah.
like he's incredibly unhinged in that, and sort of he is now in the detective role, so kind of like reverses the polarity of this film. But like Matchstick Men is actually a good movie, and you actually have like a good fun con story in that. You have a sort of very not quite bright-eyed and bushy-tailed Sam Rockwell, but very early on in Rockwell's career. So you can kind of see the con stuff that's going on in that movie actually sort of adds up pretty well too.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. I mean, those are much better options with better thought out cons.
Right. Well, it's like it's like we come to the end and it's kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. You just
So what was happening?
Now you walk away from it? Like you didn't
Right.
decide to just like stop when you shot your dad?
I mean, you would think.
You would think.
That would be the last straw.
I've conned too far to the point where I've shot and killed my own father. I don't want to be in this business anymore. Yeah.
Like literally, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, okay, Dad. And then I'll shoot at you with blanks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we did it. And we saw it.
Yeah.
And now I can't unsee it. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad. I gotta watch Arsenal now. It's also
You
on Tubi. It's also on
Yes.
Tubi. So
Yes. Easy watch, and you won't believe your eyes. You will believe that Eddie lives again.
I bet I will. All right. Well, where can listeners of this show find you most expediently?
Well, I host a show called Movie Friends with my friend Michelle, and we watch movies and talk about them. Sometimes we talk about Nick Cage. That was a great series. And this year we're kind of doing away a little bit with some of our themes. We're kind of just, it's like a catch-up year where we realize, like, you know what we haven't talked about yet?
Kind of fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, we probably should talk about Citizen Kane before we hit 300 episodes, So we're doing a bit of a catch-up year, but I think it's a good show. And you can find us, I almost said everywhere, but you can't. We are exclusively on Instagram, Twitter, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
Most places.
Yeah, we tried like TikTok. We tried all that. And we're like, we don't want to do this.
Yeah. I had TikTok because someone sent me a video that I could only watch if I had it. So I got it. And now I'm like, I don't even use it. Like, what is the point of this? So got rid of that. I'm not diligent about Blue Sky or even Twitter at this point.
Yeah.
At all. So, but yeah, you can find the show wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah. And on our website at moviefriendspodcast.com.
Tell your smart speaker that is surveilling you to play the Movie Friends podcast, and it should cooperate.
You can do that?
Pretty sure. I tested it for you like a year or two ago.
Oh, that's right.
You have to say play Movie Friends podcast. You can't just say play Movie Friends. You have to be very specific. Right. Same with my show. It's like unless I spell it out, it won't do it. So. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you for having me back. Always a pleasure to talk about Nick Cage, the greatest living actor of our generation.
Yeah, like I mean, like he's so memeable, and I get why people who sort of are not long-term fans of his that sort of came to him via the internet only sort of like don't understand that, but like I don't want to like put it out there in the world, but like the day that we no longer have Nick Cage is going to be a very, very sad day because
Oh,
we're going to lose somebody who like really, really loves what he does and is always willing to take chances. And I think like I said earlier, he's just like super considerate about the decisions that he makes when it comes to like putting his stuff on film. And like when you get into the conversation of like, oh, is someone an actor? And we have sort of celebrities who are famous who act, but are not necessarily like the greatest artists. Like Nick Cage is an artist first, and sort of acting happens to be the medium that he prefers.
who pushes themselves like this?
I don't know, man. What would you say, 150 something movies?
Something like that, yeah.
The only people that have that many movies as an actor are like Jet Li and Jackie Chan and guys who
Yeah.
have been doing it
Eric
for that long and
Roberts.
just pumping out movies. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's a long game for him.
But
and-
normally you find a niche, you become bankable, and then you
Mhm.
make bank. And that's
Yeah.
what studios want from you. They want to say, hey, Chris Evans, this is the type of guy that works for you. You know, hey, Chris Pine, this is the type of guy who works for you. I mean, Chris Pine, you know, he has done some interesting things. And like you think about like Daniel Radcliffe, and he's made so many interesting choices. But
got that Harry Potter money. He don't have to worry about sort of working paycheck to paycheck. Him and Elijah Wood, who have sort of come from these huge franchises where they were like, you could kind of be pigeonholed into that forever, but they use that as a springboard to take on really interesting work. And I mean, Cage kind of did the same thing, maybe by circumstance, but nonetheless.
you know who else I think about? Yahya Abdul-Mateen the
Yeah,
second.
very versatile.
He's always doing some fun, interesting, different things. But I mean, he's only been really active for a couple of years, you know. So Cage is, I don't know, he's unparalleled, and for like, you know, modern American filmmaking, you know, like, okay, if you don't want to be super hyperbolic, but there's no denying that 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and now that he hasn't, you know, I'm not saying like dominated, because that's also not true, but he has been reborn and recreated and kind of done it all. He's done, you know, you mentioned The Rock, and then he also did Leaving Las Vegas, but then he also did, you know, Science Sono films,
I mean,
Left Behind. You know, normally when an actor kind of dips down, they don't dip back up. And then you get Renfield, a big Hollywood capital H budget cinematography. Like Hollywood is all over that movie. And so he's able to kind of slip in and out. It's incredible.
yeah, the longevity is super impressive, but also I think it's fair to say that he has a great performance in every decade that he's been active.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Which is super hard to do because like opportunity and skill combined like have to meet with circumstance and be able to deliver that. And so like Pig was obviously kind of like a big resurgence, but then the one I forgot what it was called, like Dream On or Dreamscape or
Dream Scenario.
Thank you. Yeah, he's really good in that. I'm like, this is excellent work from him. The Surfer is like weird but fun, and he's very interesting in that movie as well. And he gets to sort of like be a more serious, crazy than we see in a movie like this. But yeah, it's kind of weird looking at people's careers through the prism of like their sort of worst work, right?
Right.
But it's like a career retrospective through only your bad movies. But it was so much and so much fun the first time I did it that I'm like, I'm doing a second month on Nick Cage. I might even do a third one next year when I have more time. There's still movies on the board.
Yeah. I mean, when Michelle and I finished our Cage which like I said, I think it ended up being like 5 weeks instead of 4. We were like, we just want to keep doing it. We just want to keep going forever. Because the other thing is that there's such variety. Like there's such variety where, if you wanted to be nitpicky, you could take other large actors and say, at a certain point, they do kind of start to be the same thing. But again, that comes to bankable. If you're paying someone $15 million, you want what that person does, not necessarily what they can do. You reach a point where it's like, you're Old Faithful, you're not the new thing.
Yeah,
and we're paying for Old Faithful.
Yeah, so there is like a freedom to be sort of where Nick Cage was, where that was no longer the case, and he really got to experiment again and like get back into his weird roots. And Ben's coming on next week. We'll be talking about Dog Eat Dog. Speaking of Willem Dafoe,
oh yeah.
Paul Schrader directed. So again, like that movie is considered bad, but it's like, look who's involved in that. Like, is it really that bad, or people just don't like it because it's one of those movies? So
yeah, well, I won't say, but it's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm looking through now. In the 2020s, you have Pig. In the 2010s, you have Joe. At a minimum, you have Joe as a great performance of his. In the 2000s, you have Bad Lieutenant, and also The Weatherman, depending on how you feel about The Weatherman. But yeah, I mean, 90s, 80s, yeah, go back. It's very consistent and very creative. Anyway, he's great.
He is.
This movie isn't.
Fair. But if you listened all the way throughout this episode, then you already watched it, or you probably should have at least. But thanks, man. Appreciate you being here, and maybe when Cage comes calling again. I know you mentioned Zandalee, Season of the Witch.
Zandalee is a really interesting one. Yeah, Year of the Witch is another really interesting one. But I mean, hey, look, I'm even, Pay the Ghost.
Yeah, you know what? I don't hate that movie.
I
don't.
Bangkok Dangerous, a movie
fun.
that I laughed at the title and poster of for years, and then watched it and was like, oh, actually, this is pretty good.
There. What is the one? It's like not Summer Isle, but it's something like that.
I think it is Summer Isle.
Is it? Like, I don't know. He looks like he's coke binged on the poster of that. I'm like, I gotta see that one because he just looks grungy, and I'm curious.
Oh, I forgot. In the 2000s, please, I forgot about Adaptation. My goodness.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So good in that one.
Talk about dual roles. I know one of my favorite movies actually is Adaptation. So.
Oh yeah?
Yes, indeed.
Very good.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, I know it's late for you, so have yourself a good night and keep an eye on the phone because Cage Month will come calling again next year.
All right. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Seth for lending his love of Nicolas Cage to me and to us. If you had fun listening to us gab about the wonders of Nicolas Cage, then I'd recommend checking out Seth over at the Movie Friends podcast, where prior to Nickvember last year, he dedicated a whole month to Nicolas Cage as well, looking at what I think would be considered good movies. At the very least, not quote-unquote bad Nicolas Cage movies. If that sounds interesting to you, you can find Movie Friends Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and of course at moviefriendspodcast.com. But check the show notes. All that stuff is going to be there for you. And speaking of the show notes, while you're there, check out the rest of the Scheist Podcast Network, which includes Hers, His, and Ours, Ex-Friends, which coincidentally I also host with Seth, the original Scheist Podcast, and Kunked, a comedy podcast dedicated to Philomena Kunk. And in the show notes, you will also find the listener survey where you can give me a piece of your mind, and it's completely anonymous. And of course, thank you to everyone who took the time to listen to not just this episode, but the entire show. The podcast options are plentiful. So the fact that you took the time to listen to this show and to trust me with that time means a lot to me, and I appreciate it. So until next time, be good, do good, watch movies, and have fun. Take care, everybody.